So today we'll talk about light. And I could say just one sentence and stop there. Light is life and no light is death. But it's not that easy. It's way more complicated. And I will start talking about the light that we very rarely think about, and that's the natural light of our wonderful sun. God bless it, and let it shine for many, many billion years to come. And we often take that light for granted. It's just something that is there, and it's either shines or it's cloudy, and we miss it when we don't see it for too long, and when it's too much of it, we go like, oh my God, it's too much sun. And so we're kind of, we're almost always complaining. It's either too cloudy, or it's too hot, or it's too short day, too long day, but we're rarely grateful. And instead of waking up every morning, looking in the window, saying thank you for this wonderful gift of life, gift of life, I meant to say, we find reasons to be unsatisfied or unhappy. And we should not, because natural light is what makes all life possible on Earth and hopefully on other planets. And without it, I mean, our life would just be impossible. And we, as designers, should definitely think about how to use it in all possible ways. And the first thought that we should consider is the orientation of the rooms in the house. And if you're reading Feng Shui or some Vasta books or another books on architecture, there would be guidance, like put your bedroom there, put your kitchen here. But I don't think it's that easy. I think it's very individual. And for me, for example, I'm not an early bird. For me, mornings start way after the sun is up. So orienting my bedroom to the east doesn't make any sense whatsoever. My husband, though, likes to wake up very early in the morning. So he likes this morning light that fills the room. So we have a problem, like big time problem. Oh, yeah. And that problem can be solved in many different ways, creating those cocoons inside one room. So a bedroom is separated into two different parts of it, or just like royalty did, sleep in different bedrooms. There is another thing. For example, if you're working long hours, and everybody would say, so your living room should be oriented to the west for the light of the sunset. But in our hemisphere, in Bali, orienting anything to the west is crazy. Except you are not there in the room, because that's when the sun is the hottest, not the hottest, but it just goes right inside the room. Every room oriented to the west needs huge shades, huge sun protection, and that's why we're working on the island on this issue, like really, really strong. And but in Europe, for example, yes, of course you would like to come home and have some sunset light in your living room. But what if you're working a long time? What if you're not home for sunset? What if you're coming home when it's already dark? So what's the point of that room being lit with sunset if it's empty? What if your kids are home at school? Then their rooms should be oriented to catch that miracle of sunset, and so on and so on. Kitchens, for example, for people who wake up early, kitchens should be filled up with sunlight. For people who wake up a little bit later, it really doesn't matter. Maybe the kitchen should be facing the west. So it's all very individual, and every single household, not just a single, okay, if you're living alone, it's easy, but if there is a family, everybody has their different biological clocks, and everybody has their different schedules. Everybody is in the house at a different time. So that's what we need to think. How do people spend their time? Where do they actually live? When do they need the sunlight? And depending on that, orienting the house to suit the needs. If you are building a new house, if you are moving into a house that's already existing, well, what can you do? But you can definitely make sure that when the sunlight is coming in, you see it, you notice it, you say, thank you, sun, for being there. You say, thank you, God, for creating the universe, if you wish. And the beauty of the natural light is it's alive. It's always moving. It's never the same. Every single sunset, even here in Bali, where every sunset is beautiful, it's all different, always. Every afternoon is different. Every morning is different. You'll never be in the same position unless you are on the border of crazy to hit that particular spot in that particular minute. And anyway, no, it's not going to be the same ever, because the sun is moving, because the earth is moving, because the whole universe is moving. So the shadows that fall from a plant on your windowsill are always going to be different. There is no way there's going to be 2 days when the shadows are the same. And to notice this, to create those moments through the shadows, through reflections, that's a beautiful thing that we should actually be doing. And here I come to reflections. No, let's start with shadows. Shadows. Well, shadows is a very wonderful and interesting thing. And first, it's completely free. Doesn't cost anything at all. And what you can do with those shadows is quite incredible. And also, most of the time, completely unpredictable. We are now working on a big project, which is about, what is it, about, I would say, 500 square meters or something like that, 400 square meters of a structure which we're building just to create different shadows. And I know, because I've tried this experiment already many, many times, and I know that the result, first, it's impossible to predict. Second, it's going to be different every day. And for that reason, it's beautiful. And I'm sure it's going to be quite amazing. So shadows are created with objects which are blocking the sun. And whatever it is, let's say a window, and you put an object, a statue or a plant in front of the window, so the shadow will be falling on the floor, on the wall, depending on the size of the tree or of the plant or the object. And you can actually shape that shadow the way you want. And you can be that shadow painter. It's actually really absolutely amazing what can happen, and most of the time it's a surprise. So I highly recommend to definitely not waste this free opportunity. And maybe because it's free, we're not thinking about it. Maybe if we were charged for shadows, which could potentially happen, imagine somebody would say, well, we have a Ministry of Shadows now, and now you have to pay for this one. That's too much. And there's too much nonsense in the world. So even something like that is like, possibly could happen. So shadows is one thing. Another thing is reflections. Light is electromagnetic waves reflecting from a surface. So basically, we see as light, it's a reflection from a surface. So depending on what kind of surface, the light will be of this quality or that quality. And glossy surfaces reflect a lot more light. Matte surfaces reflect way less light. That's why a lot of builders prefer matte finishes for the walls, because you can't barely see any mistakes. And any glossy surface will show every single scratch. On this glass table, you see every scratch, every fingerprint, everything. If it was a matte, not glass, on a matte glass you would see too, but a matte surface you wouldn't see much at all. So that's why, yeah, a lot of builders prefer the matte finishing, and it does make sense. But for us, it's important to think about the combinations of different surfaces in a room, and if you make everything matte, the room will be horribly dull. It's like a room without shadows, with completely matte surfaces. I think that's just psychological torture and nothing but that. If everything is completely glossy, you won't feel stable. You'll feel like you're on a skating ring in the middle of the waterfall. So there always have to be a nice balance. Balance is about everything, moderation, everything in moderation, including moderation. So if you have, let's say, matte wooden floors, you need silk curtains, you need some mirrors, you need maybe some glossy surfaces on the furniture. If you have polished marble on the floor, you need linen cushions, linen sofas, definitely not glossy curtains on the windows, and so on. So this combination of materials, we'll talk on a separate lecture about materials, but light, yeah, this is about the reflections. And then there's another thing about color of light. So during the day, the sunlight, natural light, has different colors from the moment the sun goes up to the moment the sun goes down. Light bulbs, artificial light, all has different color. And what happened not so long ago in the world, I actually think it's a conspiracy theory, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but the white light bulb, this cool daylight, as they call it, I don't know where it's cool that way on this planet. I think it's another another try to get rid of humanity the way we know it, and to influence the human brain, the human mind, and to do something horrible to it. I think the white light should be forbidden everywhere, including the underground parking garages, because even there, it just should be forbidden. And a famous Russian designer, actually, he was talking about that particular white light, and he was saying that when I'm coming with an airplane, when I'm landing near a city or some place, and I'm looking down, and I see that there is a lot of white lights, then the place is shit. Then it's like I'm going to land, and as soon as I can get out, I'm getting out. If the lights are yellow, then it's probably okay. Then it's okay. I can stay a few days. And that is absolutely true. I completely agree with him. And I really think it is some kind of conspiracy, which actually, if you see the poorest neighborhoods, especially in Asia, they're all lit with white lights. In Europe, rich neighborhoods would never have white lights there. Never. And it does make you think. So, okay, let's say that we are not using white light ever at all. Talking about color, not just the color of lights, but every single color, as we saw already yesterday on our color experiments, changes dramatically depending on what light is hitting it. And it will reflect, the surface, the colored surface will reflect completely different depending on sunlight, shadows, light bulbs, and so on. And so for this reason, a lot of people think that, they can choose a fabric for their curtains from a catalog. No, they cannot. You have to take this fabric, you have to bring it to your window, see it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, put the lights on, the lights that are going to be in that room, the bulbs, when the room is finished, and then you can choose the curtain or the cover of the sofa or your floors. So basically, those mood boards that designers are making, they are for this reason, not just to show to a potential client, but to be able to bring all your materials everything on one board and to see it next to your window or in your future bedroom, in your future bathroom or whatever, and to see how the colors change, how the materials react to light, and how they reflect it. So that is very, very important. The next small note that I want to make is about, well, really common sense. So this is about the practicalities, and I'm talking about kitchens, dining rooms, living rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms, and so on. And that is basically just common sense. In the kitchen, where do we need the light? We need the light where we're cooking, nowhere else. We don't need to see ourselves in the mirror. We don't need to look pretty. Nobody is watching us. We need to have the light on the surface where we're cooking food. And there should be no shadows from our head, from our hands. The light should be so clear and warm, because otherwise we will not be able to eat it, what we are cooking. Okay, the white lights are out everywhere. I'm not even going back to it, not mentioning it. So you need to see what you're cooking. If you don't, there will be nails in the salad, hair in the porridge, and who knows what. So this moment of preparation of cooking food is also quite magical. And for those who love it, and I think everybody who is interested in design has to love cooking, at least sometimes. Not necessarily every day, but at least to love to eat. So food and design are inseparable. And this magical moment of this, when this alchemy is happening, or painting a salad. For me, like, a salad is always a painting. It's throwing colors and mixing it up and seeing what happens. And so the light has to be almost dramatic sometimes, and the lower the better. So that's why it's very nice to put the lights over the kitchen really low. That is not happening in our house, but will soon. Dining table, on the other hand, well, again, it needs light where the plate will be put. It needs to create this kind of little fireplace almost, where the people are sitting around. And imagine a fireplace. People are eating their whatever, meat on the bone. You don't care how they look. The fireplace is what unites them. And so you need the light over the dining table, not on the faces of people. Actually, the less light on the faces of people around the dining table, the better. And that's why all the good restaurants will have this very dimmed light on the table, and bright light on the table and dimmed light on the people. Because that's when the people look the best, and especially are going on a date. I don't want my future husband to see my pimples or whatever wrinkles, so as dimmed as possible. So light on the table, on the food, not on the people. As little light on the people as possible. The bedroom. The bedroom is a strangest place. And this whole sleeping thing, all the living creatures on the planet, including humans, feel kind of safe in this life. So every day we close our eyes for a long amount of time and we just sleep. And we don't worry about something falling on our heads, lions eating us. Even lions sleep. Animals sleep. They just close their eyes and they sleep. And how incredible is that? That just blows my mind. I'm getting those weird thoughts sometimes, which I can't stop thinking about. So this one and the languages are now my obsession. So in the bedroom, we do that. We lay down in bed, we close our eyes, and we sleep. And we have to feel safe. So that's, I think, is priority number one. We have to feel safe. Number two, we have to feel happy to wake up in this bedroom. So we have to open our eyes and to say, oh my God, thank you that this day is starting right now in this beautiful room. Depending on when we wake up, we have to be able to either open the windows to the sunlight to say hello world, or just have a little tiny ray of light going through the curtains, which will tell us that it's already 10 o'clock. That's how I see, by the way, what time it is. I just know how the shadow is falling. And then, oh shit, I overslept again. And but that's not all. In the bedroom, we have sex. We have the most intimate moments in our life with another person. And not just intimate, but we also have to look sexy. The other person have to look sexy. But that's not all. So sometimes children come to the bedroom to play with their parents, and the light has to be perfect for that. So it has to be, if it was dimmed a minute ago, it has to be bright and happy and cheerful, and so you can see at least, what you're playing with. And what else? In the bedroom, most of the people choose what they're going to wear. Few lucky people have a walk-in wardrobe or a special room for that, but mostly that happens in the bedroom. There is a mirror, so you look at yourself and you go like, oh my God, today I'm going to kill it. This is going to be a great day in my life. Or like, oh no, this is horrible. I look like shit and nothing good is going to happen. So all this... and there's probably more. Some people eat in the bedroom, some people watch movies in the bedroom, some people do crazy things in the bedrooms. And all these functions need completely different light. Completely different lighting. It has to be bright, it has to be super dark, it has to be dimmed, it has to be accented, it has to be everywhere. So all of the functions of light, which, by the way, I don't want to go into these boring things, which everybody knows, that accent light, this light, that mainly, whatever. Everybody knows that already anyway. And so that means that you need to have everything. You need to have table lamps, you need to have floor lamps, you need to have spotlights, you need to have thin curtains, thick curtains, you need to have lights from the floor, lights down on the bed. You need to have all of it, as much as possible. So no limits. The bedroom will never work with two bedside lamps and some chandelier. No, not possible. Another room, the same actually goes for the living room, because that would be kind of the same thing. For one difference is that we normally don't fall asleep in the living room, but, well, some people do too. The room where the light, I think, is most important is the bathroom. Because that's the room, the only place in the house where we see ourselves naked every day. And that place defines our self-esteem, defines our self-confidence, defines how we are in the world. It's so important. It can actually kill you or heal you. And I had a funny story many years ago, but it's still, I can't forget it, because our school back then was in a building with this long enfilade of rooms, and there was like a long way from the entrance to the actual classrooms. And there is a student whom I haven't seen for years, and she's running towards me, and she's, oh, Veronika, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm like, what happened? And she's saying, well, I'm living without cellulite for years already. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm so happy for you. I just changed the light in the bathroom. She doesn't see it anymore. It's still there. She just doesn't see it. And so her life has changed. Her relationships have changed. She met a boyfriend. She's super happy. She's getting married. And that is the bulbs in the bathroom. And I can't believe that, this is not more talked about and not more common knowledge. I think mothers should teach it to their daughters or their sons at the age of 3. And it should be taught in schools. And it's just such an important thing and such an easy thing to change that, well, yeah, we should definitely think about that. And yes, and of course for the light in the bathroom, so for yourself to see it, just think about the theater changing rooms, the dressing rooms, how the actors are preparing, where they're putting the makeup, and that light, okay, maybe it's too strong for anybody brushing their teeth, but it's actually perfect to look at yourself and go, yeah, okay, I'm going to kill it tonight. And of course, dimmers everywhere. This little piece of technology, which is super simple, widely available, changes the life in literally a second. So dimmers everywhere, in kitchens, in bathrooms, in living rooms, bedrooms, on all the possible lights, absolutely essential.